Thank you so much for joining us. It's First Amendment Sports. It's Tuesday night. Thank God it's Tuesday. I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Tim Strachan.
I got to tell you guys, I don't know what happened. I saw Ken Marangolo with my own eyes as he drove through my neighborhood, I think going from Holy Redeemer back home.
Yep.
And there was that like sparkle came from the car. I shaved this morning, and when I put my shaver away and I looked back at the mirror, this had still this was still there. I did it again. It was still there. I've caught the mustache.
It's contagious. It's a time of contagion. You have to be careful. He's Kevin Ricka.
I socially, I consciously distance myself from both mustaches.
It's working.
We'll talk about some of the delivery food later on, but some of the grossest delivery food in Kensington has been lost in both of those stashes in the last 2 months.
Right now, I would say your mustache is asymptomatic right now. I think it's actually there. It's just not showing any symptoms just quite yet. Be careful. Be
Yeah.
careful because at any given time, it could unleash itself right across that face. There it is. It's coming. Appreciate all of our friends at Hogs Haven joining us on the official Redskins podcast of Hogs Haven and the official celebration of Tuesday nights all across this land. Thank God it's Tuesday tea.
You said friends too. Before I forget, and while we may have them listening right now, I do want to throw a shout out to our buddy Trip O'Brien, celebrating 9 years today when he suffered a stroke, and he's gone through hell and come back, but he's doing great. And I know all our buddies are over there right now, raising a toast to him, socially distant, out in his front yard, but just to pay homage to how far he's come. And Trip, we're still behind you, buddy. Love it. Thanks, guys, and to Beth and the kids and everybody. Wish I was there, but hopefully you're listening.
Yeah, he's been a big support of ours and coming out to see us at games and the Avenue when we've been down there. So we appreciate you, buddy, and happy anniversary and all the guys down there whose names I feel like those names should remain nameless. If we start naming names on this show, it could get real ugly real fast. With
Let's
those,
just say John's and Gonzaga is well attended.
yes, 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 they are. Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking of socially distancing, I try to think of some Redskins stories to kick this show off, and all the stories are bad right now. And I don't want to
Yeah.
talk about. I don't want to do bad stories. I don't want to talk about negativity. Got former Redskins getting arrested, current Redskins getting arrested. It's it's a tough time when there's nothing else going on, and there's not even nothing else going on. There's like negative else going on. But I got a question for the two of you guys, and hopefully some of these guys on the board tonight. Are we the only ones not going to all-night poker games with huge crowds and people getting after it in like just a crazy way? I mean, did we all? Are we just not being invited to these games? Because every time I go on ESPN, it seems like another handful of players was at a poker game with tens of thousands of dollars and huge crowds of people and shenanigans.
Straight cash, homie. Straight cash.
Yeah.
Listen, our man has invited us to some poker games, but they are on Zoom. We're being socially distanced out of these bad boys. We haven't had a barbecue invite to a $70,000 cash game with dice involved. I'm going to tell you that. I'd love to have that invite. Probably going to have to decline, but would love to have the invite. Just like to feel relevant.
Yeah, I mean, I someone asked me what I'm doing. I'm gonna just be watching. I'm gonna binge The Last Dance. Sorry, I can't make it to the. Yeah, I can't bring my life savings to your poker game tonight. And my guns, obviously. I don't go to any poker games without my
Yeah,
guns.
try and rob me on Venmo, fool.
These
I
guys.
would definitely be honored for an invite or humbled, I guess. But yeah, no, something would come up for sure. I like the Zoom poker too, or poker stars, where you combine it. I was even a guest star recently on someone else's Zoom poker game. It was a 1993 Gonzaga graduates. John McHugh had put it together. A whole bunch of guys that I hadn't seen or talked to in a long time. It was kind of fun to drop in on their game. But yeah, I'm not doing any of these in person. Who does this stuff? Why?
Well, also, you have to ask yourself, if someone just tuned in right now to us, it looks like a former WWF, like, wrestling podcast of veterans. I'm just looking at T straight up. He looks like he has just come off the mat, and, you know, he retired about 10 years back, and his buddy, what would you guys be? Leaping Lenny Poffo and Randy Macho Man Savage? What do we got? They were brothers, right?
I mean, he looks like he could pop a beer can with that mustache. Mine's just a lot gentler and kinder. At this point in time, I'm drinking to a straw. Yeah,
we'd be more
right.
like the Hacksaw Brothers or something like that.
Hacksaw.
Oh!
Your nickname, it definitely is something coming out of the shed, a tool of some kind. Whether it be a hacksaw or a chainsaw or a ball peen hammer. I don't know what it is, but it's mean. It's definitely mean looking. I love it. I can't wait for what Kevin's going to roll with here in a few weeks. I know it's going to be something great.
Yeah, my wife is inspired by a mascara brush.
Well, in other news, and staying on the positive front, governors are opening up their states for the possibility of live sports, which is awesome. And I know that that's the biggest hurdle for Roger Goodell. He made it very clear the governors are in charge and that they would dictate when sports start. Those governors are starting to speak, and they're saying, make a plan for sports without fans in attendance. I got no problem with watching any sport at all with no fans in attendance at this point in my life. There was a time in my life, and probably you guys as well. I know, Kevin, you spent many a day on the sidelines at RFK, and those days are special. But the opportunity to watch the Redskins play football on Sunday, does not need to be fans in the stands if that's what it's going to take.
I couldn't agree more. I have no problem, none whatsoever, with pumping in some crowd noise just for the TV perspective. And it's a little weird to digitize a packed crowd at FedEx, but if they're all wearing burgundy and gold, I'm all right with it.
I got to talking with a neighbor about this earlier today, and the more and more I thought about it, I mean, it can be done. First and foremost, though, the devil in the details is making sure that the players are safe, the personnel is safe, all the people, they got to find a way to keep them contained. There's going to be sacrifice on, families and stuff for that. So that's going to be the difficult thing to work out. As far as playing the games on TV, that's 1.6 million around, more viewers. I'm not an economist, but this is going to work out probably as a win-win for the NFL if they can figure out a way to get games on TV, because people are going to watch.
Yeah, Roger Goodell has like 5 more sweater vest combinations for whenever football comes back that he didn't even use on draft night. Or he has a serious dad wardrobe for a guy who makes $50 million a year. I mean, I hate to be the guy wearing a T-shirt and shorts in my basement ragging on a $50 million a year commissioner of a league, but come on, man, in your basement set. He didn't even have a mustache.
He needs to grow a stash.
Thank you.
Thank you. Drive by the house and then give him that smile, and you'll have a stash, just like this one.
I feel like I'm being bullied.
Yeah, you're being bullied.
Look at this. I'm being bullied. It's so soft and round and it's red and sweaty.
Crimson.
Scarlet.
Scarlet. I always get that wrong. It is Scarlet. So we're tracking again. We're tracking to football in week 1. For the Redskins, that means the Philadelphia Eagles come to town, and we've already trampled over the idea that Philadelphia Eagles fans hopefully should not be allowed to traverse down I-95 and won't be wearing their green in our opening week. I think that would be a huge win for me personally, probably for a lot of Redskins fans on a personal level. And then, but just real fast, since I am wearing the W hat, has anyone heard, or is baseball, are the players any closer to figuring out if they're going to actually play some ball? Have you heard it? I haven't heard anything, and now I'm not like Mister in the know all the time. But that was like a week and a half ago that they said we're going to play.
I think the biggest problem is what I was saying is going to be the problem with football is there's going to be a huge sacrifice on those players and their families when they have to quarantine themselves, the testing that has to happen, the constant monitoring, not just of players, but of all the people that are going to be in the clubhouses, that will be allowed to be there. And if I think that's probably the biggest problem.
Well, they have time. That's the beauty of it. It's middle of May right now. They have a solid. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. You're right, T. Football and baseball, they both got to put all that in place. And
football,
the player.
Time.
What's that?
Football, they have time, not a ton of it. But baseball, that's going to be really hard for them to pull that off.
Just means the Nationals get to be defending champions for a lot longer, which I got no problem with. And our team is getting older by the second. The players for the Washington Nationals, we got some guys who are winning off the field Redskin style right now, in the sense that you're not putting extra innings of work on Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg and Ryan Zimmerman and some of these guys who we just mostly need to be in tip-top shape for a playoff run and for a contention run. And if that's all they're going to schedule, that definitely favors a team like the Nats, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's $100 million worth of baller right there. Let's just keep them out of all the DC cash games.
Yeah, no DC cash games. No poker games. Leave your guns at home. Don't go visit Gilbert Arenas in any locker rooms. Just stay away. I mean, right? We don't need any of that nonsense.
You see the story about Gilbert Arenas winning the lottery?
Is he the one who won the $300,000?
Yes.
Well, he needs it. He was like one of the highest paid players in the NBA like 3 years ago without, playing it all from that last contract that he had. He was still collecting. That's amazing. Good for him. God, at least it didn't come out of Abe Pollin. God, don't even get me started. I know, Kevin, you don't want to get started either. I love Hibachi. We don't gotta do it.
Don't make me enroll you in John's school for the end of the quarantine, Ken.
All right.
Don't make me do it.
Fair enough. I'm out.
I'm
out. And as a Wizards fan, just to completely round the bases here, I have no problem with whatever the NBA decides to do. Although I do think somebody should be able to pick up Bradley Beal for whatever they do. If they play any kind of tournament or home stretch or whatever, Bradley Beal should just be allowed to play on one of their teams. I just think that would be fitting.
How about we just put him in a cryogenic chamber for about the next 18 months with John Wall right next to him and maybe have a chance in a year or two?
Fair enough. I don't know. Who are we going to – as long as we draft somebody who can play right away and not somebody who is never, ever going to play in the NBA for his entire life, which we know how to pick those guys. Jan Vesely.
Why?
I know. Well, you know what? It's a good segue into the sport du jour for some Redskins fans right now, which is the redraft. When you get to the OTA mid-May territory, it's always annually a great opportunity. Typically, you look 3 years back. I think I said that's the NFL draft's version of social distancing. You can look at what happened 3 years ago. You can judge it. You can grade it. You can decide who was right and who was wrong. And so I just to lead it off for SB Nation, I did the 2017 redraft, and I represented the Redskins. Redskins drafted number 17 in that draft, and man, there was some good players in that draft, and they went off the board fast. Cleveland Browns took Pat Mahomes first overall. That was pretty smart. Um, there was a handful of players, T, that I would have jumped at the opportunity to take. Your Christian McCaffreys, your Alvin Kamara's, your Chris Godwin's. I love a Kenny Galladay, as good as the next guy. Some of those offensive weapon types, and they all went. And there was a run on the defensive players. Your Jamal Adams, your Myles Garrett's, your Eddie Jacksons. Guys. Obviously, top 15, top 16 picks, you're going to know all the names. Ryan Ramczyk. George Kittle went second overall or third overall to the Bears, which I had a mad respect for. And how therapeutic was it for them? They were so butthurt about taking Mitch Trubisky, and they end up with George Kittle. That feels great. No?
I mean, no. It doesn't feel great. It just hurts worse.
See, it's half full, half empty. I mean,
George Kittle's an animal. Mitchell Trubisky, we laughed live on the show. Listen, I don't disrespect anybody. Where the hell did that come from? And listen, he's having a hard time with Hatfield Reeves. Like, what the hell are they doing down there, T? What are they doing down in Carolina? I know they taught him better than that.
You cut out. I didn't hear what you said.
I just said, what are they doing down in Carolina? I know they taught him better than that.
I think T is a closet Mitchell Trubisky lover. I think he loves Mitch Trubisky.
Oh, Trubisky. This is his make or break year, man. If he doesn't pull it together, he's a total bust. But he had an incredible sophomore year.
They just brought in Nick Foles to take his whole job. Mitchell Trubisky is the red ginger of the NFL.
Ooh, now that's some foreshadowing. That's foreshadowing, T, and it's good foreshadowing.
I thought
Marshawn Lattimore was a guy I would have loved to have taken. I think he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
He's great. I would. Our guy that we drafted. This wasn't a draft that Redskins fans should be. I don't know, regretting. Jonathan Allen fell to us. Defensive lineman out of Alabama who had a really good collegiate career, and he has performed. I mean, he's been everything we could ask for. He doesn't have that little cross next to his name that says Pro Bowl like a lot of those other guys do. But he's been nicked up here and there, but he's spent he spent nothing but hours and hours on the football field because our offense couldn't help him out enough. He's a leader. He's physical. Guys play for him, and I don't regret drafting Jonathan Allen. So as far as redrafts go, which is generally over the last 20 years one of my favorite things in the world to do, because being trapped in make-believe world has been so much better than being trapped in Redskins real life. So this particular redraft didn't quite pack the same kind of punch because once again at number 17, Jonathan Allen was on the board. No one took him ahead of us, and there was nobody I wanted to take more than him. So in the redraft of 2017, Redskins draft, we took Jonathan Allen again, and I kind of love it.
Again, let's go back to the day. We remember it. We did a live broadcast from Caddies. We did the whole shebang. We had a band. We had the whole 9 yards. It was like a wedding. It was like, I don't know. Forget it. I'm not going to even go to the Lion King or the Tiger, whatever guy. But you guys remember, Jonathan Allen was a top 5 pick for a majority of the offseason until a mysterious right shoulder injury, Bruce Allen. If you can get Bruce Allen of your right shoulder, I think, and video game of your Geist, Bruce Allen was pretty good about being pretty shifty, and we could not believe Jonathan Allen fell to where he did. You guys remember he was top 5 across the board for 90% of the offseason.
And we needed a defensive lineman.
And exactly. And then all of a sudden, him and Reuben Foster started falling down, and we didn't know which one we wanted. But we understood that at 17, all three of us said Jonathan Allen. And we played Sweet Home Alabama, and we had a good-ass party, and that was perfect. And guess what? The asterisk next to his name does not say Pro Bowl. but it does say Bruce Allen. And now it says Ron Rivera, who said he wouldn't extend anyone till he got to know them for a one-year situation. And he certainly took that option and cashed it in without getting to know Jonathan Allen, because it didn't take him long to get to know him or ask around about him. And I'll take him over and over again, 17 times in a row at 17.
The only times that a redraft discussion actually works in your favor a little bit is when it makes you feel like you could have had something better than like a Mitch Trubisky. But we don't need to have that conversation about Jonathan Allen. He may not have a Pro Bowl under his belt yet, but it's not about who has him in the first 3 years. It's about who has how many when it's all said and done. And I think he's going to have plenty.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It was a fun night, and now you're talking about our Redskins defensive line with 4 first-round picks. He was the first one. He set the tone. Payne and Sweat and Young. I mean, those guys are they're going to be following Jonathan Allen. Jonathan Allen wears that captain patch, and what do you got, Kev?
Oh no, I was gonna second exactly what you're saying, Ken. The infrastructure with that C on his chest was pronounced when Chase Young instantly called him up the night he was drafted and said, "Can I come by tomorrow and socially distance, just kick it? Because I want to hear how it's done in the front trenches at this level from the guy with the C on his chest." That was the most impressive thing to me. If we're going to build a culture with a big C on everyone's chest, let's go over to Jonathan Allen's house and see what's up.
I want to, speaking of social distancing, and hopefully he's not kidding around, but one of our good friends, James Rainey, is under the weather and fighting a little bit of the coronavirus. So we want to make sure we send our best out to him, and he's on the board tonight. Seems to be in good spirits. So we certainly thinking about you, buddy, and we hope you're better soon. And put your raise one to our main man. I'm sure you got it. Yep, we got you. You got this. And you know what?
That ain't tougher than James Rainey.
Nope, it sure is not. Especially in that doomsday bunker of his. I mean, it's like pumping more oxygen than a casino. He's gonna be doing just fine. And
yeah, man.
He was one of the ones, I think, along with some of the other guys, who have talked about the 2012 draft. And before we transition to our other topic of the night, I wanted to just do a little bit of 2012 redrafting. Now, the rule of the 2012 redraft that we were going over was we do not make the trade. We stand pat at 6. We don't trade up for RG3. That would be the first thing of the redraft that we wouldn't do.
That's a good rule.
There you go. We keep our pick. We just pick our pick. I know some people said instead of drafting RG3 at number 2, we just draft Kirk Cousins at number 6. I think we could probably even do better than that because there's a man named Russell Wilson.
Oh boy.
Who would be sitting there most likely for the Washington Redskins, and I would jump at that opportunity. If you need a quarterback, now the question is, would he still be there at number 6? The other rule of redraft is you don't just get to take whoever you want. Every other team gets to redraft too. So you have to be willing to accept that Andrew Luck still going to go number 1 to the Colts. Matt Khalil, the offensive tackle, he's probably still going to be a top pick. Ryan Tannehill, maybe not so much. Luke Kuechly, probably for sure. Stephen Gilmore,
all day.
Yeah, and Stephen Gilmore and Fletcher Cox, Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
These guys.
Tannehill's getting a resurgence. Tannehill's getting a resurgence in Tennessee.
Oh, Tannehill's going to still be a first-round quarterback, I think, in this draft. I just don't think he's going in the top 10. I think if we're lucky, Russ Wilson falls to us at number 6. It's questionable.
That would be sweet.
It's questionable that he would. I would certainly take him at number 6. Otherwise, you do have the opportunity to take a Stephen Gilmore or a Stephon Gilmore or Luke Kuechly, for that matter, out of Boston College. These guys, Melvin.
I
What's that?
I covered Keekly. I covered Keekly in college. We played Boston College a bunch. Guy was an animal, man. He was unbelievable, and he was unbelievable in the pros. And unfortunately, has to cut it short. But hell of a football player, man.
Yep. Nick Foles also in that draft. T.Y. Hilton, guys who got drafted a little bit just before Kirk Cousins. So I think at number 6, the Washington Redskins would in a redraft would do very well. And a redraft always favors teams that pick in the top 10 because you basically get to pick all the best players from that draft. So you're automatically going to be doing just A-okay. But the big deal for the Redskins would be not trading up. I think the board agrees with us. Wait. Okay, so here's a question. Greg Martin asked a good question, and I'll put it to you guys. Kevin, you get to answer it first. Would you still draft Andrew Luck number 1, knowing that he retires when he does?
Shit, no. You got no. We know this. This is like why does Marty go get the black book in Back to the Future? Come on, man. We know this information, so no, you don't take Andrew Luck in a redraft right now with this knowledge. In fact, there's only one pick for me, and good Lord, could it have fit the Redskins in the best fashion. On the field is all I care about, but our boy Danny Boy has some off-field stuff, and Richmond would be going real smooth right now if Richmond's own Dangerous Wilson
Yep.
was locked and loaded, and the Burgundy and Gold signed to a lifetime contract. And man, we'd have some better moments than we've had based on his health. But that man, you know what? He's his own doctor. He's his own doctor in the pocket. He takes care of his own health. That's how he rolls. That's how he plays. And I did not know that then, like everyone else. And if the redrafts were for real, Dangerous Wilson would make this franchise something proud.
So if that's the case, then the Indianapolis Colts probably take Russ Wilson number 1 overall. If they're smart, they would.
I don't see how you couldn't. I really don't see how you couldn't.
I don't see how they couldn't either. But then T, a different variation of the same question to you is if we're sitting at number 6 and Andrew Luck is still there because people are passing on him because he retires after 7 seasons. Do you take him at number 6, knowing what you know now?
Well, I mean, I was nodding my head before you said knowing what you know now. It's hard to draft someone when you know they only have 7 years. He actually wasn't very good in the last few years because of injury, so he wasn't even all that productive. So no, you probably would go somewhere else, knowing that. You probably end up taking RG3 if nobody takes him before that.
I mean, yeah, getting RG3 without trading any picks. He was the Rookie of the Year. He did provide us one hell of a 7-week stretch, so I'll give him that. I'd have a hard time not taking Gilmore or Kuechly, if we're being honest. As much as I have hated Fletcher Cox in a Philadelphia Eagles jersey, man, he's been disruptive on the defensive line. He probably would have looked good in a Redskins jersey. So I'll tell you what, that's a good redraft talk for the night. I think it satisfied a few folks who are into it, and hopefully we didn't chase anyone out who hates redrafts.
It's the most redraft talk I've ever had in my life.
I hate redrafts, but I'm going to say one last sentence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say one last sentence. Man, boys, in 2005, we took Carlos Rogers 9th. DeMarcus Ware was sitting there at 11th. And Thomas Davis finally made his way back home, sitting there at 14. Not sure if we had that dude for the last 15, 16 years. Things might have been a little different around town.
I'm a Thomas Davis guy. I know the DeMarcus Ware over Carlos Rogers story. It will never die. It was immediate, and it's been ever since. He obviously going to Dallas just killed us. I would have been perfectly happy if DeMarcus Ware had a career for the Washington Redskins. I mean, he's people were pushing for him to make the Hall. We'll see if that happens or not. But I'm a Thomas Davis guy. I've always loved watching him play. I love how he came in to play multiple positions, and he just became one of the best players in the league. And he showed up every Sunday. And I mean, what else can you ask for? And in Washington D.C., we love us some linebackers. So he would have made us proud. And selfishly, I would have liked to see Thomas Davis. I think we would have been just fine with Thomas Davis. But anyone who wants to say DeMarcus Ware, you're right too, and you might even be more right, because that guy was an animal.
Hey Ken.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yep.
we technically didn't redraft because we got Jonathan Allen. We just drafted.
We just drafted again. That's right.
man.
Yeah. Everyone made the same mistake ahead of us and let one of the beastliest defensive linemen in the land fall to the Washington Redskins. I think they remade all the mistakes that got us the player that we like and love. All right, so we're gonna go out tonight with our basement topic of the week. It's kind of a thing, right? In the COVID era, the takeout and delivery game. Some people do it great. Some people are just dropping the ball and not doing it great at all. And this is always an opportunity for us to give a shout out to our friends over at Off the Hook for providing some of the best takeout in the area, showing us really how it's done. Give our man John Tier and Off the Hook a call. They do great barbecue, guys. Great barbecue, and they will bring it to your house. You might even get a mustachioed delivery man, or
better seafood,
or a scarlet
the seafood
face.
and the barbecue are better than the mustaches. I can promise you that.
It's good. It's not good. It's great. And whenever we do something like this, I always like to throw something out at the top. If people want to stay off the hook, they're going to be right. So give them a call. That again is part of our game. Who's doing it the best? Let's start there. We can talk. We can mix in some areas of disagreement. T, I'm going to let you lead off tonight, if that's okay with you, Luke.
Well, we're going 3-1.
Yeah, give me your three best. Your takeout delivery go-tos.
Well, we actually haven't done much during the quarantine, although we started designating Fridays as a day to get takeout or delivery. And to keep it local and to help people out, my number 3 is the Kensington Wine & Co., which is approximately a football throw away from my back deck. And they got great food. They're there. They're working hard. They're doing everything right. They don't want to get anything wrong. It's a limited menu, but you can also get beer and wine. What else can you ask for?
What are you ordering?
It's great.
What are you ordering from them? What's their go-to dish? I never order from them.
We got to remember my diet too. With this, my diet factors in. They have an incredible Cobb salad.
I'm sorry.
Incredible Cobb salad. That is huge, and that's my go-to. Now they don't do the onion rings. That is definitely my go-to when we're outside of this pandemic. They don't do them right now, I guess, because of the fryer or what have you. But if and when they get them back, those onion rings are the best.
Okay. All right. What's next?
2 is we go through DoorDash. My family, we don't have one meal that we like to get. Everybody eats differently. Cheesecake Factory, DoorDash, you can't get anything wrong. Plus, you get cheesecake. I mean, who doesn't want cheesecake? And you can't go wrong with that, my opinion. Works great in my household.
I haven't even tried it. I haven't even thought about getting Cheesecake Factory DoorDash to me.
I'm
taking notes.
Any restaurant. It's the biggest menu of any restaurant. You can get any, other than maybe IHOP or Denny's.
Can you get Denny's DoorDash? That seems dangerous. Part of the experience, though, is going there at 2 o'clock in the morning and seeing who else is ordering the moon over my hammy at the same time as me. I'm a slam guy. I'm going all American slam, obviously, when I'm in there. And I still remember going in there in the college years when they had this is the kind of place, the smoking section and the non-smoking section was separated by a shoulder high piece of plexiglass. It's like, wait a second, there's no non-smoking section at Denny's at 2:30 in the morning. It's all smoking because, oh God, just don't get me started. It didn't matter. I didn't care.
First available. First available.
First available. First available. Whatever you got. T, what's your third?
I know it's on a tangent, but my late night place back in the late '80s, early '90s was the Bob's Big Boy in Wheaton. The big boy.
There's nothing wrong
Buffet
with
was
Bob's
good
Big
too.
Boy. Great breakfast
It was the
buffet.
best.
All right, what's your
All
third
right,
one,
so
T?
my number one,
Or
my
number
number
one?
one, number overall, bringing it back home, Continental. 525 with a 90 backer and a 50 bump. It's the greatest order of all time. When I sit down in heaven and have my first meal, I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be.
What? Tell everyone what that is.
Oh,
It's
that's a steak and
diarrhea,
cheese.
Coach, and it's delicious.
Steak and cheese with French fries, steak and cheese, French fries, and a grape soda.
All right. I'm not going to argue with you. It's a great
All
spot
American.
and a great order. It is all American. Kevin, you want to enlighten
Listen,
us?
T just saved his whole order because that is not a Cobb salad cheesecake mustache, you son of a ass. You saved it with Continental. You saved it, and I'm happy because I knew you would, and this is your hometown. I just moved into it, boys. I'm like 10. We're kids in the plants. You know, we just try and make friends with guys around here and keep it moving. But I went national chain, and I'm going to tell you this: Cracker Barrel is going to drop you off chicken and dumplings, or a meatloaf, or fried chicken tenderloin. Meal for 4 under $40. So you got to put that in the wheelhouse.
What Cracker Barrel is delivering to us? I thought that was like on 95, like 80 miles away.
Where?
No. See, you're going the wrong way. You got to head towards Frederick. You got to hit Route 85 on 270. It's about a 27-minute ride, Ken.
Okay.
But if you call the order in properly, about 10 minutes into the ride, it's hot as a button when you catch it, and you got no traffic heading back up north.
That's true.
I mean, back south. It's an easy ride, man. I'm just telling you. Buckystown Road. Google it.
Kevin, I just got the whole head turnaround from Leslie with the okay, that's Friday.
Yeah, Cracker Barrel. No, but how do you play the little game with the pegs and the triangle board to see if you're a genius in a takeout situation at Cracker Barrel? That's just the
obviously you've stolen 3 of them and they're in your glove compartment because you have 3 kids.
That's true. No, you're right.
Just saying. Right. And someone has to be thirsty for it. You can't have 4. That'd be rude to steal. What with all the Outback steak knives in the fucking glove compartment as well. Pardon my language. But I had to answer your question. You asked,
I did.
I answered.
You did.
And I'm going to tell you this. So I did my breakfast and my roundabout, good country eating. Bonefish Grill. Fellas, there's like 10 different things you can get for under $20. They do a scallop shrimp with 2 sides. Bonefish does it well. And right now, what they're doing out there in the Kentlands in Gaithersburg, Maryland, they're running this thing like a tight ship, man. It's whoo. They make it simple to get like a nice little meal that doesn't cost you $300. It's under $100, but you're still eating well. Bonefish Grill does a good job. Like I said, I'm sticking national, but the one place that has dominated my entire 39 days of learning, way more because there's other weekend days of this. I'm guessing right around 3 months. Five Guys has dominated. I mean, dominated my situation. 13 minutes door to door, the burger the way I want it, a million fries. They will package up the vinegar for my fries. Boys, Five Guys is killing it, man.
I want to say that's the only carryover. In fact, I think I know it now. That's the only carryover one for all 3 of us because Five Guys has absolutely sponsored my coronavirus vacation, staycation, whatever you want to call it. No,
I haven't done it yet.
So here's the issue.
So much of I'm not there, so we don't go.
Takeout.
That's all it takes.
In the time of takeout right now, there's takeout that doesn't make it home. Some takeout, it was never good. It was never good as takeout, and now they're being forced to be takeout places because that's the only way you can get it, and it's not good for those places. And I don't want to call anyone out, California Tortilla, but at the end of the day, some things just weren't meant to bring home. Some things you just got to eat there.
Those nachos can't make it back home. There's a window.
But the fries from Five Guys do. When you bring the Five Guys fries home in that greasy bag, my only thought is there's no way. And then I take the first fry, and I'm like, man, they did it again. They did it again.
Ken, brown paper bag. When I was 6 years old in 1981, right out of our big pot on the oven, brown paper bag. Throw them in there, throw the salt in there, shake it up, get all the grease out, and drop it out. The brown paper bag is the key.
They're geniuses. They've always been geniuses. They know us inside and out. Their burger has been the flavor profile of my entire global crisis scenario. I do want to give a shout out to some of the board members. I think Mr. Jay Dugan has nothing but nice things to say, in agreement with T's Continental call. I believe that's what he was agreeing with.
Oh, amen.
I think I actually,
amen.
Yes. And
I think
there's nothing wrong with that.
I screwed up my list.
Yep. Well, and Charles F. Gormley Esquire wants to put Chicken Basket on the map, and I got to be honest with you, he's right.
The Gaithersburg Chicken Basket or the Rockville? Because tell Esquire the first. I understand what Gaithersburg brings to the table, and it's generational.
It's the Wheaton Chicken Basket, and he swears by it. Of course, that's close by to him. It's making it to his house.
I've never had it, so
I've never
of course
had
that's
it
going to be cousins, and that's amazing. Chicken Basket with the crinkle cut fries, baby. The crinkle cut fry.
They're getting it done. I've been a Mission Barbecue guy. Mission Barbecue is the next one on my list. I do love Mission Barbecue, and they stand for everything great. There's a big American flag and a World War II armored personnel carrier right out front. And if that doesn't tell you you're about to eat the best pulled chicken that you've ever had, I don't know what else there is. You know, you mix in some macaroni and cheese. Their green beans are terrific. Their baked beans are amazing. The cornbread, I almost don't even have room for the cornbread. I find a little way to slash it around in those baked beans. Pulled pork, brisket, pulled chicken. Mix it all in.
Love it.
With some sweet and tangy sauce and that macaroni and cheese. Come on. It's the best.
It's unbelievable.
And I will throw out to my man Roberto, who's been killing it in the Marangolo house for about 20 years now. He opened a place called Alazo in Bethesda, and I was a fan out of the gate. And I loved Alazo. Now, I'm not saying Alazo. I'm saying Gringos and Mariachis, and this is why. For the same reason that I don't do California tortilla takeout, the Gringos and Mariachis nachos make it home in a way that I never thought was possible. They were also one of the first places where you could walk in when this whole thing started. They opened their doors and they said, I'm going to fill this huge mason jar up with margarita, and you can just walk out with it. And to me, at the time, I was like, wait, are you guys for real? I can just take this with me to go? And we would come out with, 4 or 5 of these, double-sized mason jars of margaritas. And we didn't, I wasn't thinking clearly. Obviously, we can make our own margaritas. But their nachos and their margaritas make it home. The margaritas sometimes didn't always make it all the way home. But it's a short drive, I promise you. It was just fine.
They made it to the metro.
They made it to the metro. There you go. Thank you. They made it to
I think the point from your list, Ken, is the fact that it didn't matter what you were going to get Mexican. What's your penchant for Mexican? Is that like your favorite?
Mexican
It's
food's
one of
good
mine.
food. Mexican food's great food. I love Mexican.
I'm Italian Mexican on the carryout tip.
I'll tell you what, T, just on that front, I know we're doing some tangents here, and I won't dilly-dally long because Disney World is closed, and it will be closed for a long time. But as a young kid, when I went down there and we got to go to the Mexico World Showcase and eat in the 2 Mexican restaurants for the rest of my life, if I have the option of going to a Mexican restaurant or any other kind of restaurant, I'm going Mexican.
It was Orlando.
It was Epcot, and I'm telling you, it was for real, and it still is. La Hacienda, do it. It's the
Your
absolute
beer
best.
was not from Germany.
The beer is not from Germany, but the Canadian beer was from Canada. I'm given to understand, so that's a fact. All right, guys. I think we.
Hey, real quick, I screwed up my list because I made 2 lists. I forgot which one I sent in. I think I actually put down on paper, if Luke can't correct me, I put down the Chick-fil-A drive-through. Did I not?
He did. You did. Luke's
But
confirming.
it, but it was via. It's the one on 28, but you have to go there via the Krispy Kreme drive-through first.
Okay. Why don't you just go to
Good
Krispy
trip.
Kreme? You had
Well,
me at
because we
Krispy
got
Kreme.
to pick up the dessert because you have to have a couple before you pick up your actual dinner.
Hey, can I
You have dessert.
can I just say my final thing? Because I wanted to keep it national, but I have one local thing that has to happen. College Gardens, right off 270, Hard Times Cafe, best chicken wing in the state of Maryland. Hands down, it's not close.
Fact.
The appetizers are nasty in a good way. Everything is filthy, ridiculously good. Oh, man. Scott, Lefty Roth, and Bob Howard are killing it down there, and they're right next door to Carmen. You get yourself a little Italian ice with some custard and combine that up. That is one-stop shopping. The best combo in Montgomery County right now, today, for the coronavirus. Mark it down.
We need to get James Rainey some Hard Times wings stat.
Yes.
Well done.
James Rainey, man.
Tonight was for James. We appreciate you, man. Hope you're feeling better. We will be back celebrating the fact that it's Tuesday, exactly 7 days from right this very second. Until then, he's Tim Strachan.
I'm going to keep trying to shave this thing. Hopefully it comes off before next Tuesday. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I do know who's going to hang in there, and that's James. Keep fighting, bud.
He's Kevin Ricca.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, buddy. James, not worried about the toughness. He's going to be fine. But listen, you got our prayers over here. And also, it's just like being 13 again, or 43. You guys just matured a little before me with those caterpillar things on your face. I'm going to keep it smooth because that's all I got. I love hanging out with this whole group of people every Tuesday, man. I hope everyone's doing great, and I hope your families are doing the same. Hey, here, James Rainey.
Until next Tuesday night, I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was Thank God It's Tuesday. See you guys then. Have a great week.
Go live.